On to Press Garden in Encore Mode. It looks very purple compared to normal.
Best level in the game, baby!
Okay, Mighty, what are you pushing? There's nothing there.
I'm doing my mime impression.
I am so glad they added the new transitions to the game, because now the game feels, for want of a better word, complete. Like, you could feel the absence of those.
Also, we can finally break this damn box.
Oh, wait.
It's been a year in the
Mighty
making.
can do that. Huh.
Yeah.
How about that? Oh, so he does have something to do in Mania Mode.
Totally worth the $5.
That almost makes it seem like they always meant him to be in here. Huh. Well, they probably did. I mean, the guys who did Mega Mix were involved in this, or at least some of them.
Well, I think most importantly, out of everything that Mania Plus added to the game, it was their time to, add polish to the original game's content.
Yeah,
you know.
the thing about that is, I get the weirdest sense that the team wanted more time to finish the game, but they didn't get that. So instead, they made a DLC and used it as an excuse to finish the game. Which, sort of makes sense, going by Sega's way of doing things, but it's that's just my theory, of course. But,
The game theory.
well, it
Also,
isn't
they
theory.
changed the note. They changed the newspapers in the back.
Oh, what does it say now?
It's
I can't read it.
Yeah, I can't read it.
Yeah, it's definitely a newspaper.
I mean, they added like Sonic's picture to a lot of things. Or did I just miss that earlier?
Yeah, Sonic's picture was always on it.
Okay.
But it definitely looks different, or it could just be a different color. And we're just idiots.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, I mean, that last
On
part's
all
a given,
counts.
so...
Yeah.
It's just what we do with our idiocy.
I'm disappointed though that this is the only bonus in the checkpoints.
Yeah.
In Encore Mode.
Yeah, that's a little bit awkward. I mean, it's in line with what Sonic 3 and Knuckles did, but there's only one pinball machine, and it's the same 3 tiers every time.
What'd you get? I got a Knuckles.
What do you mean Sonic and Knuckles separately, or because Sonic 3 and Knuckles combined both games bonus stages when he had a certain number of rings?
Yeah. It was a little awkward in Sonic 3 or Sonic and Knuckles on their own, because Sonic 3 only had the one bonus stage, and Sonic and Knuckles had 2. When you combine the two into one complete game, there were 3 different bonus stages, which you would enter. You would always know which one you were going into, because the color of the sparkles would change based on how many rings you had. And the highest and easiest to get power-ups in was the anti-gravity orb pinball machine thing. So,
Which I missed. Can we bring that back? Like, give it a big remix or some other shit?
well, you mean apart from Titanic Monarch, but
Well,
Yeah,
I
you think
mean,
they'd bring
okay.
that back before bringing back something from Sonic 2 on Game Gear, but whatever. No, I'm not bitter.
well, it would be cool if they actually, if they had added them to the game and included like 4 distinct bonus stages, so that you had more than one way to get power-ups in Mania Mode. I like that. I liked that in Sonic 3 and Knuckles because there was some variety in what you were doing to get power-ups in the bonus stages. Here it's just the one pinball machine, and frankly, the pinball machine, as much as I like the pinball minigame concept, the pinball machine gets really goddamn annoying up at Tier 3, where it's almost impossible to get yourself up there. At that point, I usually just peace out and go back to the level. I mean, it's not like...
I'm the only one that studies the typography in this level and hope someone snuck past something vulgar.
It's probably Morum Ipsum, honestly.
I mean, possibly. You'd have to just go in and
these
take
these
the
bunnies were a
spray.
scrapped Badnik from Green Hill, right? Was that?
Yep,
I think that was it.
Splats the bunny.
Yeah, the original Sonic 1.
They even have a
which-
trading card for him ready to go, but they still canceled him.
They had a name though, didn't they?
Yeah, Splats.
They got us Splats. Yeah, okay. Yeah, these Badniks are based off of those, and I think you can still trigger them in like the Whitehead version of Sonic 1.
Yes, in debug mode, yeah.
In debug mode, you can also trigger the UFOs from Marvel Zone as well in debug mode. Nobody asked for that, but it's there, and I love it.
Yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff in Sonic 1 Mobile.
That's how you know the devs are from Sonic
Yeah.
Retro. It's like if, oh man, I forget the name of the website. Shit.
Sonic
there was a website
Retro.
that I used. It wasn't a Sonic. It wasn't a Sonic thing. There was a website I used to frequent when I was in like grade school and high school. It was
Game
really
Sages?
old. No, it's a Legacy of Kain thing. It was all about
of course it is.
It was all about the volumes and upon volumes upon volumes of cut content from all the Legacy of Kain games. And
You could probably find something like that on the cutting room floor nowadays.
yeah, it's like if the people from that website got together to design the next Legacy of Kain game, it would look something like Sonic Mania. So
I'm always fascinated by that sort of thing, like cut content, dummied out assets, and things that would just go unused entirely.
well, it is especially fascinating in this case because like all of the games past the first one were rushed so hard that like their entire third acts were cut, and they had to end on cliffhangers. So the cut third acts are like entire story segments that were supposed to have conclusive endings. But
Like of every Sonic game, I think that had so much taken out, or at least planned but never fulfilled. I think Sonic 2 still might be champion of it.
Genocide City.
And I mean, to be
anyone?
fair, it's still the best one, so, you know.
Debatable.
No, it is.
Korean Knuckles.
it's true because like Sonic 2 never had a chance to really put that cut.
It's
content
also
in
one.
use.
It's also only needs to be one game instead of 2 games. So you know, there's also
yeah,
that
that's
argument.
that's kind of what I'm talking about. Sonic 2 never had a chance to put that cut content to use. Sonic 3, well, their solution was to put it
Chop
make
the
half
game
a
in half and make it cost.
Make
twice as
half a
much.
game and finish it by inventing lock-on technology, which was a genius move because they turned an incomplete game into an opportunity to sell a really gimmicky gimmick for their cartridge that 90s kids totally ate up.
And to my knowledge, Sonic and Knuckles lock-on thing is the only one of its kind to do that, right?
Yep.
The only thing that
Yeah.
even comes kind of close is, and this isn't even Sonic, the Banjo games on N64.
Stop and Swap was never
They
got-
wanted to. What they wanted to do was in Banjo Tooie, you could at one point do a swap where the game you would leave the system on, but you would swap the Banjo Kazooie Tooie cartridge with the Kazooie cartridge, and I believe like you'd be able to use Tooie stuff in Kazooie and things like that. But it didn't end up happening because, surprise, surprise, Nintendo doesn't want kids yanking controllers out of their system while it's still on. I wonder why that would be considered a bad idea.
Yeah.
So it just
It's like that's a great idea in theory. Will it actually work? Probably not.
no. So the only thing that really ever happened was you get like minor things in the XBLA version if you have a save file from Kazooie and Tooie and things like that. It ended up being, it would have been cool, but it ended up kind of being a lost opportunity.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I don't know how it would work, and you run a major hardware risk by
Yeah,
doing that.
no, in theory it would have been cool, but practically no, it never would have worked. So yeah. Although they did, some games have had stuff like that happen, like in Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. You can, if you have a physical version of that game, there's a point where you can swap in the physical version of Shin Megami Tensei 4 Vanilla and get some bonuses, but that's only in like a menu. So it's not like you're doing it during active gameplay,
Yeah, that's also a matter of you're working with a system that has a home operating system.
Yeah, as opposed to just
Flash memory.
flash memory, exactly.
Yeah, they kind of limited themselves when they decided to stick with cartridges. So
Yeah. Like, I mean, you could probably do that with discs too, because it wouldn't be that much different than, say, switching to disc 2 of Final Fantasy or whatever, because you could do that while the system was still on. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you
Well,
could.
that's because it's not really reading anything. It's just booting up the next disc.
Yeah, they
the
can.
thing about
you can
the thing,
have
the thing
the
about
thing
disk
running
drives.
on RAM.
The thing about disk drives though is that taking the disk out or opening the disk while it's working doesn't necessarily damage the disk. So
Yeah, whereas the cartridge or the N64's inner computery bits, which I'm sure have a better name, but whatever.
Patent pending.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, sometimes content's cut for a reason. For example, they had the Pokemon Gold and Silver demo thing just came out a couple
I
of
wanna
weeks
play that so bad.
ago. And I mean, granted, some of those old designs are interesting, but some of those are really, really bad, and I'm glad they got cut. So
Chikorita second stage.
But you see, the thing is, though, judging the quality of it is one thing, and I agree there are some things that I'm glad that was changed.
Yeah.
But I do just like the idea that it exists.
Oh no, I find it
'cause
incredibly
it's
interesting
like-
because a lot of it
yeah.
looks like if Gen 2 Pokemon were drawn in the style of like Pokemon Green, you know, with those really terrible original sprites.
Yeah.
Yeah, like baby Meowth.
Yeah. Well, no, Baby Meowth is actually one of the ones I really like. It's also interesting to see, there are some instances where you see like, oh, Tangela was supposed to get an evolution way back then, and oh wow, their first try looks way better than what they did in Gen 4. You know, sometimes that happens. But then you see stuff like Bayleaf, for how all of the baby Pokemon look basically the same as each other. It's just they're just balls, you know.
Yeah, they're just.
I think my favorite is probably Ditto's evolution.
Ditto's evolution makes me terrified. All right.
Yeah. I know, that's why it's great.
Okay. All right, John.
That was me not giving a crap because Mighty was actually making the boss a little bit harder because he kept bouncing off the the plates.
I thought Mighty made the game so easy, Ryan. Oh my god.
Well,
God.
Well, I mean, he does, just not this one aspect.
Well, when you bounce
Ted.
off the saw blades, you can't, you don't take damage, so you can't
But I
use
can't-
the invincibility frames to then
frames.
jump through the saw blades.
So he does make the boss easier, but not in the way I want to
Wow.
do it.
In this case, that would mean when you're playing as Mighty in Mania mode, you actually have to fight the boss properly.
There you go, Lewis.
So, go back to what I was saying earlier, though. Like, one of the things I do love about the Whitehead version of, like, Sonic 1 and 2 is that they went out of their way to, like, re-implement some things that were initially scrapped. Not everything, mind you, because, you know, Dust Zone and Wood Zone are nowhere to be seen in Sonic 2 Mobile.
Or a Genocide City Zone or whatever it was going to be
But
called.
the fact that they went out of their way to, like, re-implement, like, Hidden Palace Zone, well, you know, the way we know it as, really makes me, like, yearn for, like, if, say, you know, really hoping here that they ever get the freedom to make their own Sonic game, like without having to rely on Green Hill version 36,000 or Chemical Plant Zone. Like from beginning to end, it is original.
Well, I imagine there's going to be a Mania 2, quote unquote, at some point.
Yeah, I know, but here's the thing, though. What I fear the most now is that the name, the Mania moniker comes with reused zones that are remixed and only a handful of original.
Well,
Honestly,
I don't think Christian and Simon would agree to that at this point.
No, here's the thing. I've been saying that that's likely ever since Mania came out. Well, since before Mania came out, even. Like, I think that they're gonna want to have it appeal to nostalgia crap, and they're gonna want, not crap as in, oh, your childhood's bad, more just that they're gonna want it to be based off of old games. They're gonna want it to be Emerald Hill now instead of Green Hill or whatever. I can see that Sega looks at it and it's just like, oh, people like that this is like the old game, so put more old. Sega, look, how long have we been doing this Sonic junk on YouTube? How
10
many
years.
times have we said, oh, Sega would be stupid not to look at this part, and then they don't look at it and they change everything in order to do something else that nobody
Or
wants.
they do for 1 year, then revert.
Yeah. They don't listen. They never
The thing
have.
about that, though, is we had this conversation in the original playthrough, and well, the other thing about they
I saw that too.
all of the reviews of the original game say that, you know, the remix zones are nice, but the original zones are better, and we wish there were more. You know, I feel like I feel like it's just being pessimistic for the sake of pessimism to expect them to rely.
Well, to be fair, our pessimism is grounded.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yes.
I guess.
How many times has Sega started something, okay, we like this part, but then ignored everything else that everybody says, you know?
Listen, I am a Sonic fan, but fuck me, it's hard to be sometimes.
Well,
I mean-
you know, they kind of did, but they also kind of didn't.
That's
Their
our
worst
point.
their worst offenses are actually more them trying to go back to things that people liked and screwing it up. Shadow the Hedgehog and Sonic 06 are the big examples. You know?
Well, you gotta hit rock bottom before you find out. Like how low can he go?
Yeah, but they also hit rock bottom 10 years ago. So,
Yeah.
you know, well, 12 years ago. God damn. Okay, they hit rock bottom 12 years ago, and they still haven't climbed out of that hole. So, you know.
You know we're
they
gonna have to
add-
redo that at some point.
Did they add
No,
animations?
no, we don't. No, we don't.
Did they add animations to the characters being frozen, or am I just
Yes.
seeing things?
Their eyes now track left to right.
Ah, you see, I thought I was seeing something that wasn't there before.
God, it's like that's the face of someone discovering your browser history.
Also, Mighty gives no fucks about this boss.
No, the Shinobi is the joke.
Well, he was
does
always the
re-
easiest one because
Does he repel everything?
Yeah, he repels all the Asterons and stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah, the Asterons do absolutely nothing to him. See?
Oh Jesus.
See,
That was me
as
just,
he
run,
gets
that
hit
was
by
me just
one.
running into him.
He can actually destroy the astronauts. You know that's Asteros. But
Yeah.
the
Mighty appears in space on the International Space Station. I'm gonna fuck your shit up and then spin dashes through with an
imagine
explosive.
Mighty
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 the astronaut.
Armadillo as a secret unlockable super character in Sonic Adventure 2.
Ray,
Watch
this
out,
is
you're
what
gonna
you
crash.
wanted, Ray.
Yeah.
This is my promise I made to you.
Watch out, you're gonna crash. Yeah, Mighty comes out of nowhere and just smacks the thing back on course.
And Sonic's spazzing out over there.
Yeah, I know. What was that about?
For a moment, it looked like Mighty was saying, "Hey, what is that about?" He just looks at the screen. And he's like, "What?"